especially coming from people who pose themselves as world policemen in the world, led by the United States of America, Donald Trump, who have attacked our democracy and our sovereignty.
Attacked your democracy and your sovereignty? Is he off his meds? Folks, Fikile Mabalula has been making bizarre utterances and has become a complete embarrassment for the African National Congress, even if the party doesn't recognize it themselves. Insulting foreign diplomats, insulting foreign heads of state, insulting foreign countries, and insulting South Africans. In this short video, we're going to show you some clips of some of the outrageous things he's been saying and doing. Like saying that countries present themselves as the world policemen. Well, isn't that the pot calling the kettle black? Let's see. It is the ANC South Africa who has repeatedly invaded Comoros under the guise of peacekeeping, Lesotho, stuck its nose into events in Cote d'Ivoire under Nelson Mandela, messing up the political situation there, occupied Burundi for years, sent fruitless peace contingents into the Congo for 30 years, where many of the soldiers sold uniforms, drugs, and ran prostitution rings, and eventually those forces ran away from rebels. It is the ANC South Africa that has ignored the genocides in Myanmar and China. It is the ANC that considers itself a moral superpower, yet looks the other way when its friends in Tehran butcher thousands of peaceful protesters. A moral superpower? Only in a comic strip.
We shall never cower, comrades. The American ambassador came here drunk a few days ago, and he was demarched by our government. We sent the Israeli ambassador drunk also back to Israel.
The American ambassador came here drunk? He wasn't drunk. Is that palatable language, Ronald Lamola? After all, that's what you demarched Ambassador Boesel for, using unpalatable language. Is this not unpalatable language? Can you not get control of people in your own political party? Is that diplomatically appropriate for the Secretary General of the largest political party in South Africa, the one that entirely controls South Africa's foreign policy, to lie and insult President Trump's personal representative? I say it isn't. Does the African National Congress want warm relations with the United States, or would they prefer sanctions? Removal from the SWIFT banking system, withdrawal of U.S. investment, an embargo? What exactly are they aiming for here with this behavior? Folks, Fikile either lacks impulse control, is willfully ignorant of history, or is simply being dishonest. He recently insulted Ambassador Boesel, calling him an unrepentant racist with no foundation, based on the fact that he was in a political action committee back in 1987 that was opposed to George Shultz, our Secretary of State, meeting with a designated terror group, the African National Congress's Representative O.R. Tambo. That's history. That doesn't make him an unrepentant racist, a document from 40 years ago.
And if we're not mistaken, we're told that not more than 49 car guards left our country to the United States of America.
And here we see 13 months after the refugee program, Fikile Mabalula, the Secretary General of the African National Congress, continuing to insult South Africans with his belittling comments about refugees. And yes, you are mistaken, Fikile. Your math is very weak. Another 30%er, are you? 3,490 refugees through February 28, 2026, not 49. Now, that's not bad for a 30%er. You only missed the mark by 3,441 refugees, so you just off a little bit. Also, I know for a fact that several of these refugees are now making six-figure incomes. At least one bought a home, and many have bought vehicles since they've been here. And many of them, I'm talking about, have only been here for a couple of months, some less than a month, getting well-paying jobs. Many of these so-called car guards now making more money than Fikile Mabalula will ever be able to legitimately make as the Secretary General of the African National Congress.
Why would the president go there? And the president went and delivered the message and came back, even on public transport, not even on Gwazi, and went to America. And some of us were just thinking that he's going to be kidnapped.
Public transport? Is that what we're calling commercial aviation these days? Ladies and gentlemen, the South African Air Force plane would have been closer to public transport if only it had been operational. You see, it's owned by the government, therefore public transport. Public transport. No, commercial aviation.
But we said to the president, you must go, even if you get kidnapped, for whatever reason. So
He thought Ramaphosa was going to be kidnapped? What is this guy drinking? What an embarrassment to the liberation struggle he is. Can senior ANC members actually even take Fikile Mabalula seriously?
The African National Congress calls on all South Africans to rise to this moment, to defend our sovereignty.
Defend your sovereignty? Uh-oh. Is Eswatini mobilizing on your border? The threat is real. Get ready. Your sovereignty's at risk. Ooh.
We've been painted as a people which, when we implement transformation laws in this country, it is said we're implementing racist laws. And we say no.
Well, let's see, Fikile. 145 race-based laws meant to impoverish racial minorities. What would you call that, Fikile? Oh, never mind. That's transformation in the ANC's race to the bottom. Yeah, it's not racism, it's transformation. A euphemism.
And we are a people that support others who are fighting for their self-determination.
So the ANC supports others fighting for self-determination, yet they oppose Western Cape independence. They say nothing about China's illegal occupation and annexation of Tibet, an independent country. They are opposed to Somaliland's independence, even though it's a functioning country for 30 years plus. And, well, why not Quebec? Pfft, please, support others' self-determination only if it suits your needs.
Even those who advocated and misrepresented South Africa and claimed the genocide are still here.
And yes, Fikile Mabalula, I agree with you. The South African media and the ANC politicians who keep pushing the red herring of a genocide are still in South Africa. You see, you keep bringing it up. You're the one bringing up the genocide, not the so-called right. And the lies you're saying about the people who came to America, including members of your government of national unity, to speak to the U.S. administration because the ANC refuses to send an ambassador, you refuse to negotiate or talk with the United States, and then play the victim. Well, other South Africans, including members of your government of national unity, have actually made that effort. And your president rebuked them, ignored them, and you lie about them. Nobody came here and said there was a genocide. That's a fabrication of you and your media. You're the ones pushing the line, not the people you're attacking. Ladies and gentlemen, this Secretary General of the African National Congress is a perfect example of how the ANC and its members have betrayed the liberation struggle, blaming others, implementing the same policies that the National Party did to oppress part of the population. The irony here is that the National Party pulled this off as a minority. The ANC, which has all the levers of power, the only legitimate use of force, is doing this to racial minorities. The fact that the world is ignoring this is disgraceful. And the fact that Fikile Mabalula wants to get up and pretend that he's a stalwart defender of freedom. No, you're just caters. And it's your turn to eat. And like pigs at the trough, you're eating. And South Africans, black, white, and brown, are suffering. It's time for the ANC to sack this guy because he's an embarrassment to South Africa. And if the ANC is not embarrassed, that speaks volumes about them. What say you, South Africa, Mzansi? Cheers.
Now, comrades, beyond rhetoric, where is the sellout point? In the global shifting of sense, geopolitical environment.